Yung Rodriguez, oh, kulang yung na-film yung car ba? Kaya ng computer ba? Kurang na to, sir. 3C. 3C. Uy, sugo kayo. Gamay ka man din eh. Nay, special report tulo, sir. Special report. Okay. May hapon, Mr. Secretary, Majority Floor Leader. Gabi, napay Councilor Bunglaw.
May hapon, may hapon.
Okay. Hapon, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Okay, Mr. Secretary, Majority Floor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ayong hapon sa tanan. All the regular members, mayong hapon. And so as our colleagues in public service, mayong hapon. Our very own Secretary, Sir Arturo de San Miguel, mayong hapon. And the rest of our fellow public servant, mayong hapon. 61st regular session sa Guniang Panglusod, Bayan sa Cagayan de Oro, is now called to order. Please do stand and invocation by si Councilor Lordan Swan. Okay. Councilor Lordan Swan, mayong hapon ganimo.
Mayang hapon, Vice.
Mayong hapon.
Let us be reminded that we are in the holy presence of God. Our Father in heaven, we humbly pray that you bless the City Council and all its employees and staff so that we may perform our sacred duty to serve the people of Cagayan de Oro with utmost integrity, diligence, and skill. Keep us steadfast in our obligation to vote and decide for what we believe is right and for the common good, no matter the consequences and regardless of affiliations. And may the virtues of temperance, courage, and humility be always present in our hearts so that we may properly serve and be shining examples to our constituents. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilor Lordan Swan, and for the singing of our national anthem. And for the Cagayan de Oro March. Okay. Ngayong hapon. So another day, another regular session for our 61st regular session for the 19th City Council. Um, another day for in public service as uh, we are set aside as to have a legislate or as a legislative body in our city as well for the hierarchy of local government unit. So, ngayong hapon ka natin tanan. Since we are facing pandemic, COVID-19, agwanta lang, lahutay lang. Oh, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, lahutay kayo. Sustainer. Uh, sustainer. Almost 1 year. Na ba? Almost 1 year na. Majority, ang kwan ba? COVID?
Oh, almost.
Hapit na. Almost. Pastilan. So, bati niya po. Anyway, at this moment, our secretary, can you please do the roll call and determine if we have a quorum this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Honorable Vice Mayor Kikangoy. For our
Speaking.
roll call, Honorable Renier Joaquin VOy, City Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer. For the First District Councilors, Honorable Ednem Dehino, Honorable J.R. Pascual, Honorable Roger G. Abaday, Honorable Saldi O. Ocon,
Present.
Honorable George is Goking, Honorable Ruben R. Daba, Honorable Lordan G. Swan, Honorable Romeo V. Calizo. For the Second District Councilors, Honorable Jolene Mercedes Balaba,
Present.
Honorable Maria Lourdes Isgaani, Honorable Ann Mark Yunakaya, Honorable Suzette G. Magtahas Daba, Honorable Chodolfo E. Lau Jr., Honorable Enrico D. Salcedo, Honorable Jocelyn B. Rodriguez, Honorable
Present.
Edgar S. Cabanlas. For the ex officio members, Honorable Yan Lam Islim, Liga ng mga Barangay President, and Honorable John Michael El Seno, City SK Federation President. There is quorum, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We have a quorum. Majority Floor Leader, Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya. Maayong hapon kanimo, Majority
Inay
Floor.
man Pao.
You have the floor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I'm here to personally and in physical presence during session because I would like to greet again Councilor Edna Dahino. Happy birthday. And the two other members of the council who are...
She reminded already, Majority Floor.
Okay. The message is a reminder. Anyway, to our colleagues and friends from the media, fellow Cagayanons, may hapon. I move, Mr. Chairman, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of meeting on October 12, 2020, and to consider the furnishing of its copy to every member as the reading itself.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor Leader and second from the regular members. Seconded.
For amendment.
Correction?
For amendment.
Correction?
For amendment. Yes.
For-
Vice.
Later, after
Later,
after
Councilor
the,
Girly Balaba
approval of motion.
for the approval of the said. Okay. Since there is no correction, after all, it is hereby approved.
I likewise move for the approval of the said minutes of meeting.
For approval,
Councilor
Any second?
Girly Barba.
seconded. Okay, there is a... Okay, Councilor Girly Balaba. Maayong hapon kanimo, konsehala.
May
You have
hapon,
the floor.
may hapon sa akong mga kauban diya sa City Council, sa session hall ug sa Zoom. This is for the proposal, particularly resolution number 13693-2020, page, Annex A5,
Page.
for page
Come
5,
again.
Annex A, page 5,
Page 5. Okay.
yes, lines 169 to 177. Um,
169.
for this particular resolution, I was able to convey this to the president himself. He is asking for the exact or location for the said drainage projects. Can we include the areas?
Okay. We have to specify specifically the areas, all the areas,
Yeah.
you mean?
That will
Yes,
cover
guys.
the 4.2
If the
billion.
author, Councilor Eric Salcedo, he was able to send me a copy of the said areas. For District 1, Villarin Street, Macanhan, Gomel, Extension, All Carmen, Highway, Kapuagan. And for District 2, CM Recto, Agora, Kamaman, Barangay 26, Colambog Creek, Barangay Lapasan. Can we specify that in the said?
Okay. 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 So,
My suggestion, Mr. Chairman, if we will just identify all those streets, it will not really cover the entire comprehensive drainage system of Cagayan de Oro. We have on record already the proposal of the DPWH Region 10, which they have brought to our attention, and all these areas which are supposed to be included in the 4.2 billion should be included. So my suggestion is to provide Councilor Gurley with
The
a copy.
attachment.
Yes, with a copy. And if she so desires at the proper time, we will pass another resolution to that effect,
Joel,
Councilor Gurley.
katong
There is
Okay.
urgency.
Okay, Councilor Gurley.
Yes, Vice.
nakoy ka ng tasa diya nga gibutangan ako.
Okay, Councilor. Okay,
There is
Councilor.
an urgency because at this moment, kanang panahon ongoing ang budget delivery sa Senate pa-appeal unta
Okay,
siya.
come again, Councilor Gurley Balaba.
Yes, karong panahon na kasamtangan man gud ongoing ang budget deliberation diha sa national unta ko atong
Okay.
appeal, particularly kining the said itong specific areas gyud ang ato ang target, dili lang kanang broad na
Mhm.
kay para ma-appeal siya sa 2022.
Okay, okay. It is much better if we will ask the DPWH itself and we will attach to this resolution.
For the
Ah.
record, Mr. Chairman, the City Secretary manifested that all those areas which have been specified during the discussion in the previous session are already part of the comprehensive drainage plan. And he suggested if Councilor Gurley will agree, instead of passing another resolution in the latter part of our proceeding, we will just provide in one of our whereases the specific areas where we would like to request the President of the Republic to provide funds therefore.
Okay. So, okay, at the proper time, is it okay, Councilor Gurley Balaba, that we have to proceed and then later on we will just attach the said concrete, specific, concise drainage plan for this, including for this resolution. Okay? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Councilor Gurley Balaba. Is that all? Okay. So,
We'll take
Mr.
note
Chairman.
of the comment, Mr. Chairman, of Councilor Gurley. May I move that let it be a part of the transcript of this proceeding.
okay. Noted majority floor. So, it's okay. So, is there any other matter for concerning about this resolution? There none, so properly moved for its finality and seconded. It is hereby approved.
We come now to the special report, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 members of the council who would like to render a report. First is Councilor Birthday Girl Inday Dahino, who would like to
Okay.
report on online classes. Ikaw number 1 kay
Birthday man, birthday.
birthday.
Siya
And
na, oh,
second reporter, Mr. Chairman, is the very active reporter, Councilor Abaday, who would like to
Councilor Gojo
report
Abaday.
on the curfew in the city in relation to new IATF guidelines, and Councilor Senod as regards holding of cockfighting in relation to new IATF guidelines.
okay. So the birthday girl, since it's still October, so it is her birthday month. So dapat first reporter Councilor Dahino, second reporter Councilor Suset, kay birthday man po niya. So third reporter Councilor Eric Salcido.
Nawala man ang duha.
Anyway,
Okay.
birthday celebrant of October, Councilor Edna Dahino. Maayong hapon kanimo konsihala.
Ngayong hapon.
You have the floor.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mr. Chairman, and to all my colleagues here and in the online at home. Good afternoon, and of course to our guests at the back. Mr. Chairman, this is all about the new opening of the school, public schools here in our city and the rest of our country. The opening of classes, Mr. Chairman, of the public schools last week has greatly exposed the vulnerabilities and challenges of our public education system. COVID-19 has provided us with a clearer picture of inadequacies of our public education, of just how unprepared we were to shift the digital and distant learning. The DepEd was also heavily criticized by the many errors in the provided modules, and the distant learning classes prompted many reports of depression and emotional breakdown among learners and parents. Most parents, Mr. Chairman, post frustrations and complaints in social media of having the difficulty of answering the voluminous modules given to their kids, but knowing the Filipinos' penchant of humor, even in difficult situations, the social media is now flooded with memes regarding experiences with self-learning modules and online classes. Sadly, there were only news of students who have allegedly committed suicide due to the learning modules from other places. While on one hand, some parents are struggling to adapt to the change, some parents seems to be okay with the virtual experience. We also recognize many parents and communities have risen up to the challenge. More and more parents are becoming appreciative of the teacher's work and professionalism. We become aware of the multiple roles that schools play in providing for the well-being of children and ensuring character development, and alongside academic learning. We are also seeing resourcefulness, dedication, and creativity from teachers, families, and students who are collaboratively building remarkable learning experiences at these times. Although some of us, Cagayanos, with the chairman, have shown resiliency at these times, let us be mindful that the modular approach in education also places parents and guardians as the learner's model or partner in learning at home. Parents are called or tasked to be that more knowledgeable others, or MKO. An MKO is that someone who has a better understanding or higher ability level than the learner concerning a particular task, process, or concept, and this is where the obstacles lie. Parents and guardians will face various challenges in fulfilling their roles as MKOs because parents' educational attainment varies. In fact, the fact that parents and guardians have varying skills, knowledge, and qualifications, I think most adults are literate enough to functional to the community, but it does not mean they will all qualify to teach. In addition, let us also address cases of parents being unavailable due to work. It is a fact that even college graduate parents will face difficulty in subjects of math and science. Ladies and gentlemen, for our school children to learn excellently at these very difficult times, we need to address these challenges, the gaps and the obstacles faced by both learners and learning partners list. Our quality of education will all the more suffer. Or worse, we may hear more stress-related incidents, cases of depressions and emotional breakdown. So, if possible, MKOs can be given training in other ways by giving them guidance what to do with the modules and making help from teachers accessible to MKOs who are academically challenged or katog yung wa gid in town maka-eskwela, Mr. Chairman. Lisod kaayo in town pagtudlo nila, naglisod yun. So can we imagine the frustration of parents nga walay ikatudlo and the difficulty of the learner who needs assistance? They need intervention so that whatever support that we can create, they can still be guided. The students who need clarification on a particular module material. The time calls for effective and efficient collaboration between stakeholders, and we can start the initiative now or as soon as possible. So, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, and hoping to help our guardians, parents, learners, and teachers at these difficult times of distant learning, I would like to refer my special report to the Committee on Education and Social Services for their much needed support that we can create to our education sector. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Enna Marban Dahino. In addition to our regular members, there is none. There is none. I think it is loud and clear since Councilor Suset Magtahas Dama, she keep on smiling in the picture. Councilor Suset, singisihan naman to. Okay, we'll just inform her at the proper time. Okay, that matter will be referred to the Committee on Education chaired by Councilor Suset Magtahas Daba. Anyway, we will now proceed to our second reporter, Councilor Roger Jer Abaday.
Thank you very much. Okay ba? Okay. I was signaled by, okay ba? Audio? Naku. Thank you very much. I supposed to have a virtual attendance, but because of lagging signal, so I prepared to attend. No? Secondly, there were 3 birthdays celebrants, so kasing na pa yung mga nilisan.
Mr. Chair, naara ko, Mr. Chair ha, pero ay hapa ko na unmute.
Okay.
Hindi ko, wala ko gi-unmute, wala pa ko nag-on sa video kay pangit ang background. Na somewhere. So, mobile, nakawala ang signal, but I heard, Mr. Chair, sorry ha, excuse lang. Pero I hapa ko na unmute, I cannot speak a while ago. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to greet the celebrants, no? It's a belated lang, pero just a reminder to remind them,
Siya ako makalimot.
SOP, ang SOP ba?
Siya ako makalimot.
Councilor Edna Inday Dahino,
No?
Councilor Suset Magtahas,
Thank you, boss.
Councilor Eric Salcido,
Sa likod.
pa segunda siguro.
Siya ako makalimot.
Okay, thank you. More birthdays, happy birthdays to come.
Thank
Okay.
you.
May I proceed, Mr. Chairman and my colleagues? Good afternoon also to our virtual participants and those who are watching us and listening to us today in this regular session. Now, I was tempted to report this, although there were previous reports that have already rendered, but the IATF has already come down to their guidelines. So, Mr. Chairman, after almost 8 months or more or less, we are being locked down. No, we're being quarantined. Some seniors and young people may now be able to leave their houses as part of the government effort to revise the to revive, I should say, the economy during this coronavirus pandemic. So the IATF decision, this was yesterday in Bureau, the government required persons below 21 and above 60 years old, above 60 years old, so more, even 100 years old, to stay home at all times, except, this was the previous determined, except on essential activities like going to work or buying necessities in all community quarantine areas. But under resolution number 79, the IETF has revised its guidelines to include the adjustment of the stay-at-home restriction to cover those who are 15 years old and those over 65 years old. So pwede na mga sa abot sa 70 or up to in all areas under community quarantine. Now the amended guidelines now reads, any person below 15 years old and those who are over 65 of age, those with immunodeficiency, comorbidity, or other health risks, and pregnant women, including any person who resides with the aforementioned, shall be required to remain in their residences at all times, except when indispensable under circumstances for obtaining essential goods and services, or to work in industries and other offices such as other activities. So the task force also amended the guidelines on the age restriction for people in malls and shopping centers. Those below 15 years old and above 65 not enter commercial establishment except for obtaining essential goods and services for work. This new resolution. So pwede na, makasulod na ang mga below 15 up, then 65 up. Okay. Previously, they are not allowed to enter such malls, Mr. Chairman. So, and my colleagues, the reason for this recommendation, even the cabinets and other Metro Manila mayors, the opening of this, the recommendation approved by the cabinet and the opening of more business or set apart roads, public transportation, multiple work shift, allow the public to contribute to the economy and shorter curfews, Mr. Chairman. So this is a dual purpose, Mr. Chairman, in my special report, because under Article 19, Article 19, Section 19 and Section 20 of our Ordinance 13855-20, an ordinance providing guidelines, rules, and regulation during a period of community quarantine. As far as curfew and curfew, Mr. Chairman, Article 19, Mr. Chairman, is unlawful for any person to roam around or loiter outside homes from 9 o'clock post-meridian before or up to 5 o'clock. Article Section 20 also, Mr. Chairman, covered article is essential persons, who by virtue of their employment required to stay outside home for residences after 9 p.m. So, Mr. Chairman, the purpose of this special report is to request, Mr. Chairman, humbly request or earnestly requesting the city mayor to possible to change the curfew hours from through its executive order, Mr. Chairman, regarding those people which I have mentioned, 21, 15 up and 60 up, Mr. Chairman. So I am moving, Mr. Chairman, in the proper time that this Section 20 and Section 19 and 20 be changed, Mr. Chairman. The closure time of our curfew and the change of the ages covered, Mr. Chairman, that are prohibited will also be changed, Mr. Chairman, in the proper time. Thank you very much.
Okay, may I know the changes coming from the IETF itself? New order
Yes, Mr.
for the IETF?
Resolution 79.
Okay, so since there is a new guidelines,
79, IATF.
okay, since there is new guidelines, well, I just want to remind when there is, since we are in the brink of emergency and there is still a state of emergency declared by the national government until next year, itong sa state of emergency as declared, health emergency. So until next year, since there is a state of emergency, well, automatically we don't have to change it directly, but still, if there is a law or coming from an executive order or our locality or ordinance, well, automatically there will be the national law or the special law will supersede. So we will not, I think it's not proper for us to urging our city mayor, but the people itself may know that there will be a guideline coming from the national government. So since there is a special law for that, so it will supersede all the local ordinances or executive orders.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. But under our ordinance, especially Article 19 regarding curfew, the city mayor is hereby authorized to change the curfew hours through the executive order as may deem it fit. So it is proper, Mr. Chairman, in order to synchronize or in order to be consistent with the new guidelines by the IETF, in order also not to confuse our enforcer down to the barangay, this ordinance, Mr. Chairman, should be changed by no less than by city mayor through issuance of executive order.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Roger Cabaday. Okay, John Michael Seno, and after Councilor John Michael Seno, Majority Floor Leader Ayan Mark Kiblat Nakaya. John Michael Seno, Councilor John Michael Seno.
Thank you, City Vice Mayor Joaquin Kikang Uy, the members of the 19th City Council, fellow Cagayanons, mayong hapon kanatong tanan. That is under the resolution 79, Mr. Chairman, issued on October 15, 2020. I supposed to have pareha unta mig special report kay duha man akong isgutanan regarding sa cockfighting and the ages 15 to 65 years old. Pero nalimtan ditong mention, Mr. Chairman, that iklaro dani sa resolution 79 that provided that local governments unit retain the authority to impose a higher age limit for minors depending on COVID-19 situation. Pasabot, naapagyapon ang authority sa ato. Wala nag-ingon yun ang IATF nga diretso 15 to 65 years old makagawas na. But upon the discretion of the local government unit. Ibaluman po kita nga hiskutanan sa curfew. In fact, it was bring already in the local IATF na naghangyo ang atong mga businessman nga isa ka ang curfew. Lugar, siyempre kita kaka-pressure pod kay naa mga businessman nga gaduol sa ato hangyo lugar nga kumahimo patasan ang oras sa curfew. I think it is deemed proper, Mr. Chair, to refer this matter to Committee on Health so that we could have a databases on whether to continue this 15 to 65 years old nga atong pagawason kaysa lang mo hatag ta diretso sa mayor. So that ang ato pong mga yango atong mabutang sa committee, atong mapadayag, at the same time, ang mapadayag pod ang mga yango sa negosyante. And we will, og makarespond pod ta sa mga negosyante na gaduol sa to unsay igong rason nga ngano ang executive dili pa uyon or I don't know kung unsa po'y decision. So I think maybe if Councilor Roger Abaday would allow nga i-refer ta ni sa Committee on Health so that we can talk about it, so that our decision is data-driven decision and scientific-based decision. Thank you, ug may hapon.
Okay, thank you, Councilor John Michael Seno. Thank you for the inputs that you made. Okay, Majority Floor Leader Ayan Markiblat Nakaya, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it is data-driven decision, so we should subscribe with the national IATF because it has already been studied, it has already been tinkered, and it has already been decided. But again, even if that is the case, Mr. Chairman, in the general population of the Philippine government and the country itself with its own population, the national government has in many occasions, and even in fact, at the very first stage of this pandemic, in February, March, Mr. Chairman, authorized and allowed the local government units to decide. So we provided in our provisions of our ordinance that was read by Councilor Roger Abaday, the authority to the city mayor, Mr. Chairman, so that we can act fast, quickly, and immediately if there are circumstances that would demand changes in certain policies, the city mayor can already decide appropriately. We have provided that the two lines, the two sections that Councilor Abaday have read, Mr. Chairman, on that basis. So let's leave it at that because as legislators, we are not abreast of any and all happenings in Cagayan de Oro. In fact, when I asked earlier before the session how many COVID victims already in Cagayan de Oro, not one of us can answer immediately because the data is within the purview of the executive. And what have you in the discussion every day, Monday to Saturday, for purposes of deliberately discussing it with the public during press conferences. So I hope we subscribe and we still maintain that trust and confidence in the decision that the chief executive would have particularly if for Cagayan de Oro there is really a need, because we're top 1 in Region 10, Mr. Chairman. And add to that, if the general population will be available and accessible anywhere and any time of the day, because of that raising of curfew hours, Mr. Chairman, because of the ages that would qualify them to go out, dabi dili lang ta top 1 Region 10, top 1 ta sa Region 7, Region
In the entire Mindanao.
Entire yun, the
Mindanao.
entire Philippines.
So, na-speakers bureau na to diya. Councilor Duc Bubay Daba. Anyway, I guess during the time when we approved the ordinance and provided the authority to the city mayor, Mr. Chairman, have its own wisdom. And I hope that the same wisdom we still persist and continue to trust, because again, even if we refer it to the Committee on Health, the data that will be gathered, Mr. Chairman, will still be the same, perhaps, third-party opinion, because it's not a direct, perhaps, coming from the horse's mouth.
Okay, thank you, Majority Floor Leader Ayan Marty Blat Nakaya. Thank you for the good special report, Councilor Roger Cabaday, and for the inputs. Thank you, Councilor John Michael Zeno, at this moment of time, or at this matter, since a discretion of the executive branch. So maybe at this matter, we will refer it first and driven by the facts and submit it to the committee chairman on health, and then you have to balance it, make it decisive for that matter, Councilor Roger Cabaday, and discuss it thoroughly, and then so that we can act accordingly for the said special report of yours and refer it to the Committee on Health, chaired by Councilor Maria Lourdes Gaani. Okay, our last reporter, Councilor John Michael Zeno. Mayong hapon kanimo, Councilor.
Ngayong hapon subli, City Vice Mayor Joaquin Kikang Uy. Just to add up na lang, kaya na-mention naman to kaganina ang katong una-unta nga ipasaka ang edad. Now, on the last part of that resolution number 79, Mr. Chair, on paragraph J, if I may read, the operation of the licensed cockpit and conduct of cockfighting activities shall hereinafter be allowed in areas placed under modified general community quarantine. Nakita na ang level karon or lower, subject to the strict observance with the health and safety protocols and implementing guidelines as may be issued by the Department of the Interior and Local Government, period, provided that in-person audience, online or remote bidding and the live broadcasting telecast of cockfighting shall not be permitted. Provided, finally, that the local government units shall have the final decision on whether such operation of licensed cockpit and the conduct of cockfighting activities can proceed in the respective localities. Mo kini ang National IATF resolution. But on our ordinances, specifically on ordinance number 13900-2020, ban on cockfighting or sabong in licensed cockpits until such time the same is allowed through the issuance of the President, the IATF, the DILG, or any national agencies having jurisdiction on the matter. So sa ato pong ordinansa, nag-ingon po ta nga depende sa Presidente, sa IATF, or sa DILG. Now, ang resolution karon po sa atong IATF, gibalik sa local government unit. Na, lagi to, sa gingon pa ni Councilor kang majority floor, nga gasaka ang ato ang kaso. Unya, basin himuon ni nila nga basis that they will proceed in doing as such. Nakabalaka kita nga madugangan ng atong problema, Mr. Chair. Lugar, I think we should also refer this matter to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Games and Amusement Board to call the attention of these owners of the sabungan o bulangan to inform them nga siguro ma-advisean nga dili sa mag-proceed or kung unsa ang ato ang pwede mahimo. And we will also invite, of course, the speakers, the experts coming from the executive or through the City Health Office para mag-guided po ta sa ato ang decision, Mr. Chair. Kay sa ato ra bang ordinansa, nagbalik-balik lagi kung ako nang balikon. So I think this special report of mine has be transcribed to the Committee on Health and Joint Committee on Games and Amusement for further studies, Mr. Chair. Thank you and good afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Councilor John Michael Seno. It's better to be safe. It's because this could be a preservation of humanity. So, well, it is much better that dili lang sa good. Okay, no? Well, anyway, thank you for your special report.
Mr. Chair.
Any wants to comment?
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilor Ruben Daba.
At salamat kay Mr. Chair. Mayong hapon diha ug sa akong mga kauban diha sa plenary ug sa mga naa sa tagsa-tagsa ka mga balay. Mr. Chair, no, gwapo kayo ang report sa akong mga kaigsuonan si Councilor John Michael Seno ug si Councilor Abaday, no, gwapo gyud kayo kay kun magtuman lagi bitaw unta ta Mr. Chair sa kanang gitawag nilang minimum health standard protocol kanang magamit sa atong face mask, face shield and everything. Abri na tanan, Mr. Chair. Pwede na gyud tanan. Pero nakita nato, Mr. Chair, nga grabe gyud ang pag-surge sa atong cases. So kana nagpasabot nga ang atong mga kaigsuonan wala pa gyud nila na nabutang sa ilang kasing-kasing ang pagtuman gayud sa atong minimum health standard. So dito ako sa huna-huna ni Councilor Seno ug ni Councilor Ian Mark Nakaya na i-refer sa nato sa atong health ug uban pa nga committee ba para matan-aw gyud og maayo. Mura kana, Mr. Chair. Daghang salamat ug maayong hapon.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Ruben Daba. Okay, Councilor Sandy Ocon.
Salamat, Vice. Maayong hapon.
Mo.
Sa with due respect sa good reporter, Councilor Sino, kung wala ko'y supak ana. Pero ang sitwasyon karon sa Cagayan de Oro, naganambaya og kataas pod ang virus di nato nakalikayan. So ako mo go hinuon ko aning sabong through televis. Kay wala gyud makaadto sa bungan kay naraman sa balay. Safety gyud ta ana hinuon.
Well, there is no live viewing for the sabong, Councilor Salvi.
Oh,
not
sorry.
allowed. Not allowed.
No live viewing. So meaning to see we have
Gwapo
to
sa
go.
live viewing, no?
So meaning to see we have to go inside the cafe if we have no live viewing.
Yes,
Mr.
but still,
Presiding Officer.
it is given a discretion. It is gave the authority is still in the local government unit.
Thank you
We
very
will
much,
allow
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I will retract my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Saldi Ocon. Okay, Councilor Edna Dahino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would like to ask from the good reporter, Councilor Seno, if, with your report, may we know how many owners of the sabungan are requesting to have this sabong? Because you are...
No, the special report based on the new guidelines coming from the IATF.
Yes, if there is guidelines, meaning maka-imbitar sila sa tag-iya. So, at this point of time, do we have a request from the owner? Wala pa so far. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edna Dahino. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is in line with the special reporter, John Michael Seno. This is with regards to online sabong. Actually, there was one group who are intending to operate in Cagayan de Oro. And the basis is from Manila, I think Butuan, Surigao. They have already opening this online sabong. But under the IETF regulation or guideline, under the online sabong, no crowd, no? Only the kanalang larga lang manok and kwimi lang, kwimi. They're that and no crowd. There's no crowd, but they are subject, and I forgot to bring the IATF guidelines. Only 4 can enter the sabungan, and they are subject for swabbing every week, and their all protocols will be observed. Dito sa ilang mga set, istakan sa manok. No one, walang masyador, walang one, only the referee o gan katulang ano. And you can view.
It is already allowed.
Yeah, they're operating now.
So,
Butuan.
so the special report of Councilor John Michael Seno, I think parang nagkasalungat kayong opinion nyo. As reported by Councilor John Michael Seno a while ago. Coming from IATF, Councilor John Michael Seno has a guidelines from IATF.
That's a face-to-face. I'm talking about online. Online
Well,
sorry, Mr. Chairman, but that is what I have, online sabong now is now allowed, but some other places, no? Like Metro Manila and some part of,
Okay, we have to stick to the
okay,
to
sorry,
the
sorry.
special report. And then,
Regarding face-to-face, wala pa, wala.
Okay,
That's the first time I heard, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Roger Abaday. I think you are very vigorous and active in this matter. Huh? I think. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you, Councilor John Michael Zeno. Okay. Is there any other regular member wants to add something or an opinion? Kumbaga.
Nana si
okay.
another birthday celebrant, Councilor Eric Salcedo. Maluto naman ang
Happy
30 minutes.
birthday to you.
Isang 30 minutes, makaluto naman.
I think he is already reminded. Dili pa man sadya senior citizen nga makalimot sa atin. Ha?
Napauna ako. Present ko next week.
Well, okay. Anyway, okay, thank you, Councilor John Michael Seno. This matter will be a joint committee referral from Committee on Health, chaired by Councilor Maria Lourdes Gane, and so as to the Games and Amusement Committee, Councilor Roger Abaday. And it's up to the committee to decide on this matter and for a conclusion of it.
We now proceed to the agenda proper, Mr. Chairman.
You may now proceed, Majority Floor Leader.
On item number 1 is proposed resolution number 2020-211, accrediting the Cagayan de Oro Grassroots Micro Entrepreneurs, CDO GME, for purposes of its membership in the local special bodies, pursuant to DILG Memorandum Circular number 2019-72 and Article 64, Rule 13 of the Rules and Regulations implementing the 1991 Local Government Code, or funding its project from the city or other sources as required under the COA Circular pertinent thereto. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved by the Majority Floor.
Second.
Seconded. Objection. Hearing none. Resolution number 2020-211 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality. Seconded.
Item number 2 is proposed resolution number 2020-212, endorsing the herein proposed projects for funding under the allocation for the city under the guidelines on the release and utilization of the local government support fund COVID-19 financial assistance to LGUs in the Bayanihan to recover as one RA number 11494 per DBM Local Budget Circular number 128 dated September 17, 2022 with name of project and the project cost. One is Cagayan de Oro COVID-19 Response Recovery Augmentation, 150 million pesos. Construction of IRID Laboratories San Simon, Cagayan de Oro City, 50 million pesos. Construction of Pagatpat Transitory Shelter for Disaster Victims, Pagatpat, Cagayan de Oro City, 37,215,000 pesos. In the total amount of 237,215,000 pesos. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved. And a second?
Second.
Objection? Objection. Okay, Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao, maayong hapon kanimo, Councilor.
Mr. Presiding
Come again,
Officer.
come again.
Good afternoon, Mr. Presiding
Okay.
Officer. Hello.
Okay. You may now proceed.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good afternoon to my distinguished colleagues. May I ask from the author what this IRID mean?
IRID Laboratory.
On item number 2, construction of IRID Laboratory San Simon, Cagayan de Oro City. Is this related to COVID-19 prevention?
Okay,
Yes.
maybe the Councilor Maria Lourdes Gani can shed us light on this matter.
May hapon ka natin tanan. IRID means Emerging Response of Infectious Diseases. Before those with COVID-19 positive patients, before i-evaluate kung whether it's mild to moderate or severe cases. Pag severe cases, that would be admitted to our COVID referral hospital, which is NMMC. Ang mild to moderate, they are admitted at our IRID facilities.
Yeah, my second question, Mr. Presiding Officer. Why is it that this IRID laboratory be located in San Simon? It's far from the city, from our place, from the center of, from the heart of the city. Because most of the victims of the COVID-19 are not from the farthest barangay, but within the metropolis of Cagayan de Oro City.
Okay.
I guess, Mr. Chairman, if I may answer.
Okay, majority floor.
I guess the concern of the executive is the distance. This is not a laboratory testing facility for those who are suspected to have these cases, but this is a lasting facility that would provide a set of professionals that would study, review, and through the testing, Mr. Chairman, within the laboratory. So emerging and re-emerging infectious disease concerns, Mr. Chairman. So kung tinuod ang storya katong sa China, mga remote places ni ang mga laboratory, Mr. Chairman, that would undertake laboratory study, a continuing laboratory study as regards some various infectious disease. So it's not only for COVID. Is that a correct appreciation, Councilor Malu Gani?
Mr. Chairman.
And on the other hand, this could be a support fund coming from the national.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman.
To utilize it. Okay. Okay, Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao, you mean?
Because now I raised this question because if you read the local budget circular on Annex C, page 26, these two items, item 2 and item 3, could not qualify if we will base these guidelines. That's why because this is about the budget being given to us through the Bayanihan Act, no? This is a national funds. So, and there are some guidelines enumerated in local budget circular on Annex C. So, if you read Annex C, page 26, if you read all the guidelines, so these two items on item number 2 and number 3 could not qualify. That's based on my observation. That's why I raised this matter before the those who have studied this matter, so that we could not be subject for accountability as reflected in this section.
To me, Chairman, if I may, I would like to think and second guess the executive officials, Mr. Chairman, that they are anticipating some measures that are necessary. And the concerns of Councilor Bunglao perhaps is valid, but if we are to understand the guidelines provided to us with this local budget circular number 128, there appears also, Mr. Chairman, construction of facilities. And the facilities provided in this LBC, Mr. Chairman, may be strictly for COVID-19, but this emerging and re-emerging infectious disease laboratory would cover also COVID. But in anticipation, on the side of the executive, in anticipating here, now, and future incidents of infectious disease such as this COVID-19 and the future perhaps similar infectious disease, Mr. Chairman, the proposal then would cover all embracing. That would not be limited to COVID-19 only, because while we think that there are strict rules, Mr. Chairman, and applying the same would limit us to use the facility after COVID-19. So if there are anticipations of 2 to 3 years, and the facility would be exclusively for this purpose, that would not cover other concerns, Mr. Chairman. So that's another issue. That's a waste of money. So that is why I guess the proposal of the executive would cover any and all.
I think so that we can utilize or extract the budget coming from the national
Even
government.
after COVID.
After all, the people of Cagayan de Oro will benefit from it.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Lastly, Councilor Chodolfo Bunglao.
Maybe we could suggest to the chief executive that it's better that we could establish the laboratory here in our city, particularly at Jarbara General Hospital, so that it's easy for our people to, if ever they have infectious diseases in the future, not only on COVID, but other diseases. So it's easy for them. It should be access for them to go there and have to have a laboratory checkup. That's my point. Rather than go to the San Simon, it's very far from the city. It causes us travel time, and even the transportation is not accessible at this moment. So that's my observation. Just only an observation and comment on this proposed budget. Second, on the item number 3, Mr. Chairman, regarding the construction of Pagatpat transitory shelter for disaster victims. So it is not also enumerated in the guidelines that we should, part of the money of the Bayanihan Act should be utilized for this purpose, because if you look at the guidelines, this item would not qualify. That's my observation. I am not against. I'm just only expressing my observation based on the attached guidelines.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Chodolpo Bonglao. But if we will not utilize this or this bayanihan to recovery as one act, and the amount of 1.5 billion. So if we are not active enough, the local government unit of Cagayan de Oro, maybe some other cities will utilize it. So maybe so this could be divided among the highly urbanized cities, or I think where the COVID allocated COVID patient or hospitals is located.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, just one point.
Okay, okay. You may proceed, Councilor Chodolpo Bonglao.
Maybe we could suggest, Mr. Chairman, that part of this allocation, we will allocate budget for the barangays, because the barangays are working for the prevention of COVID-19. And maybe we can distribute the money based on the population of the barangay, like Barangay Carmen, which has a greater number of population. Maybe we could allocate 3 million. Barangay Lapasan, which has 50,000 inhabitants, so maybe we could allocate 2 million based on the population, so that they can move and then sustain their programs, especially in the prevention of the COVID-19. That's only my suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Chodolpo Bonglao, for your input. But as a legislative body, we cannot. Well, our main goal, or our main as a legislative body, or as under Sanggunian, we cannot alternate, but we have to approve or disapprove this proposal or this resolution. I think this resolution will be a requisite for the National Fund to release or download it to the local government unit. So maybe this could represent for a requisite resolution. So you have a good input or idea or an opinion, Councilor Chodolpo Bonglao, but as a Sanggunian, we cannot alternate the proposal passed to us by the Chief Executive. Okay, Councilor Girly Balaba.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Girly Balaba.
Comment lang ko.
Okay.
Naamat sa guidelines kay Councilor Bong, nasa page 27, expenses for the operation of standalone mobile testing laboratory and expenses for the kining part sa pagatpat transitory naa sa page 27.
Page 27, paragraph 3.1.9.
Yes, expenses for the purchase or rental of tents or spaces for temporary shelters and to accommodate additional space or building to accommodate COVID-19 patients. 31 expenses for the operation of standalone mobile testing laboratory. I think it's in the guidelines of the DBM.
Mr. Chairman, actually, it is not for the construction. It is for the purchase
Temporary.
of equipment.
It's here. 319.
319.
Yes.
Okay, 319.
And 3111 or 3110.
Okay. But okay, thank you, Councilor Girly Balaba. Well, Councilor Chodolpo Bonglao just reiterated that maybe the budget allocation will be divided to all the barangays. So, any members? Okay, Councilor John Michael Seno, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I'm with the Councilor Chodolfo Bunglao to maybe to allocate to the barangays nga nagkinahanglan considering na depleting pod ang budget sa barangay karon. I know sa city depleting pod pero kani magid natabang basin pod ang ako lang mauna-unaan Mr. Chair basin pwede nato mabutang or sa executive na dani nila makuha sa Cagayan de Oro COVID-19 response and recovery augmentation. Basin somehow I know nga dili ta pwede makabuot kung unsa pero basin pwede nila matanaw Mr. Chair sa kining item 1 nga 150 million nga malukitan pud ang ato ang mga barangays kay kung natabangan ang syudad ato pong tabangan siguro ang barangay Mr. Chair. Kana lang ako. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor John Michaels. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My concern is these all projects are all transitory, not permanent. They are temporary. And we spent, it's not a small amount, it's millions. So
Billion.
this million, almost 237 million for a few time lang during COVID. So, kung ako na ano ko ng kwarta, may tabo, Mr. Chairman. But anyway, my question is, Mr. Chairman, is why not utilize our hospitals? We have modern hospitals. There are existing laboratories already. So, I understand that we are renting hotels. We are renting areas for CIUs para dagantag irintahan mga hotels, no? For temporary confinement of our those who are suspects, no, of COVID. Now, why not, Mr. Chairman? My question is, why not utilize these existing laboratories like our General Bora Hospital so that we can make use of this money to improve also our capacity and efficiency of the operation of our hospital. So that's my concern, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
I have to remind that this budget is not yet in place, but it will be a request for financial assistance.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Councilor Saldi Ocon.
Salamat, Mr. Chairman. Tinood na nga propose pa lang ni. Wala pa ni nga budget, nangayo pa lang ang syudad. Naras kamot sa mga banggiitang sakop sa konseho. Agi panguluhan sa atong halangdong Vice Mayor. Now, kung pananglitan ma-approve na ni, natural na i-budget, Mr. Chairman. Pero ang ako lang concern, although ispituhan ako ang ubang na membro nga mangayo og budget para sa barangay. Sa akong pagtanaw niini, Mr. Chairman, dili man siguro na angay nga butangan ang barangay ani nga project. Kaya nga naman, dili man ni gamiton og palit og mga items kay iapod-apod sa mga tao. Akong nasabtan ani, Mr. Chairman, construction kini sa building. Nagpasabot butunganan. Na kung kuhaan nato ning budget ihatag sa barangay, unsaon po nila na? Unsaon paghimo nato sa atong building? Ug hata ug taga natong pahat ang barangay. So siguro insakto na nga kini nga pundo gamito ni ining mga tulo ka mga project. Ining augmentation sa COVID-19 response recovery, construction sa ERID laboratory sa San Simon o kining pagatpat transitory shelter para sa maong mga biktima. So meaning building ang atong tukuron ani Mr. Chairman. So dili angay nga ang barangay hatagan ining kwartaha. Kay wa man giingon ni nga mo palita og vaccine para panghatag sa mga tao. Di na mao building ang atong tukuron. Ug kuhaan ta nga kwarta ihatag sa barangay. Unsa ang pagtukod anang building? Mao lang, Mr. Chairman, salamat.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Saldi Ocon. But
Vice-
this will be a request for financial assistance coming from the national. But the recipient for this bayanihan to recover as one act shall be the city or the province, municipal or the barangay. Addressed by the secretary of DBM. So it can be as long as you are a local government unit of the Philippines, you are allowed or a recipient for there of this recovery as one act. Okay, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas, mayang hapon kanimo.
Maayong hapon, Mr. Chairman. Maayong hapon sa tanan. I mean, kung ato ning aprubahan, wagin mawala sa ato. Everybody will be benefited, including the barangay. Kay the city is composed of barangay. When all these facilities will be constructed, this will serve the barangays. I mean, you cannot separate barangay from the city of Cagayan de Oro. All our actions are all directed to the barangays. So, I mean, muna na itong baton nga, magbuhat ako ng facilities. Sige ba ito, servisyon na ang taga magsaysay ba diya, nga taga Cagayan de Oro mga po. Asa man nagpuyo ang mga taga Cagayan de Oro, na mas mga barangay. So, everybody is benefited. The barangays are benefited. So, niya, kung mabili na ito ni ipapasar, basin o makanto ni salain, atag sa lain. Kaya kung malangan naman ko tako, magsikiya, taghatag-hatag sa barangay nga, tagpila lang ka, mahimong mumho na lagi noon.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Edgar Cabanlas. So, any other regular member?
Yeah, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Councilor Rodolfo Bonglao Jr.
Actually, I am not against of this proposed project. But based on the guidelines, akong pangutan na mo qualify ba ning item number 2 and item number 3. If item number 2 would qualify, then better we could put up a laboratory at our Giarbora Hospital to upgrade our hospital. And it is convenient on the part of people of Cagayan de Oro because it will be access to them if they ask for any laboratory request. Second, if this construction of transitory shelter would qualify as enumerated in the local budget circular issued by DBM, that's my question. And I'm not questioning about the project, about the guidelines. That's why I hope my colleagues would, before they should, and then my suggestion, because our barangays are our partners in preventing the COVID, and they are clamoring for additional funds so that they can sustain the program. That's why I suggested before the City Council, because they are our partners. Mao nang magdaghan kung dili nato sila tagaag support, but if we will give them support, maybe they will double time their efforts to prevent the spread of COVID-19. That's my point.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Rodolfo Bonglao. Well, you are both correct, but this at this moment, the Sanggunian or the local government unit is in adventurism on this part. Maybe at this time around, the 1.5 billion is already given to any other big cities, or this could be whether approved or disapproved, but this could be our part or our role for this requisite that be submitted to the national government, and it is required our resolution. So thank you, Councilor Rodolfo Bonglao. There is a pending resolution proposed, seconded. Is there any objection? Objection? None. Resolution number 2020-212 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense with its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Corollary motion or manifestation, Mr. Chairman. May we ask the Secretary to extract the remarks of Councilor Bonglao and other members of the Council and forward the same to the Executive for their appreciation. Item number 3, Mr. Chairman, is proposed ordinance number 2020-173, granting 1 grade salary increase from grade 13 to 14 to Ms. Leonora D. Tionco, former midwife 3 of the City Health Office, whose compulsory retirement from government service took effect on September 15, 2020, pursuant to Section 30 of Republic Act 7305, otherwise known as the Magna Carta of Public Health Workers, and for this purpose, appropriating the sum of 14,611 pesos from the item personal service and salary savings under item number 1, City Government Department Head 2, City Health Officer for the period May 1 to 5, 2020 in the 2020 annual budget of the said office, the city, to be made available for payment of her 3-month salary of differential as a result thereof. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved.
And
Then a second.
Second.
Objection. Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-173 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense with its finality.
Second.
Seconded.
Item number 4 is proposed ordinance number 2020-174, institutionalizing the Clean As You Go, CLAGO practice in food serving establishments in Cagayan de Oro City, providing penalty for violations thereof and for other purposes. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved. Any second?
Second.
Second.
query, Mr. Chair.
Objection. Okay. Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao.
This is a very good and laudable ordinance because it will change the character and behavior of our people to become independent and not dependent on those after eating somebody would clean of their remaining the leftovers in the table. So one way, but sometimes may I ask the good author if this ordinance has been passed with massive or several consultations with some establishments and people around the city.
To ask the committee
Okay.
chair of health, be given time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Councilor Maria Lourdes Gaani. There is a query.
Thank you. Actually, during one of our committee meetings, we called on the different establishments, just like Jollibee, Chowking, those establishments na ay mga fast foods, especially nga and majority of them agree nga mas maayo gyud nga ma-implement nato ning CLAGO na ordinance kay especially, actually, we've been doing, na naman ni existing, pero ang may tabo lang doon kay gaibilin lang bitaw dayon. So, karon mas maayo nga ato gini siyang istriktohon nga ma-implement nato ning CLAGO na ordinance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up question.
Councilor Maria Lourdes Gaani. Okay, a
Follow-up
follow-up
question.
question.
Yes.
Councilor Tudor Bonglao.
Because I am afraid, Mr. Presiding Officer, that this may cause a back down of the employment in the city. Kay di naman mag-hire ang mga establishments. Kay mga tao na kaon mao na mahipos. So luoy kay tong na-hire na daan bitaw nga kung ato aning i-implement. And besides, dili man nato ma-overnight sa pag-change sa karakter sa tao. It takes so much time for them to inform, to educate, aron nga kuan sila kabalo nga ga-implement na ni siya nga can we ask the good author nga tagaan atong provisions sa ordinance nga not after 15 days we could implement this ordinance, but maybe we will give a grace period of 1 month for education and orientations of the of those people, of their clients, no, in every establishment. That's my point, because if we could abruptly implement this ordinance, ugoy dagana kay magbagut-but unya dabig this may cause the retrenchment of labors in every establishment. So daganan noon karon ang wa na yung trabaho imbis ga paningkamot nga ma-encourage ang atong mga establishments nga mag-open even in the period of pandemic aron nga ang atong economy kuan pero dabig
Okay.
that's my
Mr.
only
Chair.
observation.
Okay, thank you, Councilor
Chair.
Rodolfo Bonglao. Okay, Councilor
Mr. Chair.
Tama.
Yes, Mr. Chair. No, a quick lang response, Mr. Chair. Kay, I was present during the time no nga gikuan namo ni Chairman partner Councilor Gaani. In fact, sa dito ko nag-verbalize gyud og kalipay, verbalizing and then manifesting nga nalipay gyud kay sila. Number 1, SM, Century Mall og ang Limkit Kai Center kay sila day gusto na gyud na nila nga i-practice og gyud unta dinhi sa ato sa Cagayan de Oro ang clean as you go. So I think kuan siguro kay na salamat sa kay sa concern ni Councilor Bonglao no, pero I think dili gyapon na it will help them, pero dili na nga moad-an sila og kadang trabaho Councilor Bong, but it will help them ease their burden kay na may uban gamay ra man gyud kaayo ang ilang gi-hire unya daghan kaayo ilang client, so nakatabang na sa ila sa pagkuan kaysa sila pay mo clean sa kuan. So I think dito nga kuan favorable gyud kayo all establishment, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Ruben Dava. Okay, Councilor Roger Abaday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sada ni nga ordinansa, Mr. Chairman, siguro gi-pattern ni sa Singapore, Japan, and other Asian countries, no, or European countries. If we will approve this ordinance, Mr. Chairman, ikalima na ni nga ordinansa nato regarding littering. For mayroong ordinansa concerning about littering, ordinance, atong codified ordinance, number 4373-94, CDO, chapter 130 of dumping of garbage. So, section 574, duties of the residents, and then sections 575, the penalty clause of later on. Another ordinance, Mr. Chairman, Cagayan de Oro, anti-littering ordinance, number 13378 in 2018. We have also an integrated ecological solid waste management ordinance, 2016 to 2024.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I am asking the body and especially the author if this ordinance will not become redundant. Nagkaroon mga itong ordinansa, pero what is the problem is the full implementation of the ordinance. Yan na existing na daan ni Mr. Chairman, ordinance. So, it punishes, the ordinance all punished, in fact, sa atong 2018 ordinance, prohibit the dumping of any waste materials in public places like sidewalks, canals, parks, establishment. And those will violate this law will pay. Barator,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, 500 to 2,000 lang. The other one is dumping po, puros anti-littering. This new ordinance, Mr. Chairman, the Clean and Go, is also the same violation, Mr. Chairman. Now, my other concern is the penalty is too harsh, Mr. Chairman, and too big. Imagine how much is the penalty. For the first offense is 1,500. Second offense is 3,000. And the third offense is 5,000. Lailabot ug di makabayad, isumbong pag yun sa korte, no? Penalty of 5,000 plus imprisonment. So, for me, Mr. Chairman, is to burden, is to beg. Because COVID time, Mr. Chairman, maglisod ang mga tao na nagyod, di na nila madaog, Mr. Chairman. So, I'm questioning also the amount or the penalty imposed, Mr. Chairman. Because under the anti-littering ordinance of sa previous is only 500 pesos. Sa 2018, anti-littering ordinance, it's only 500 pesos up to 2,000 pesos. Now, sa Metro Manila, like littering sa MMDA in 2010, how much they will fine for this the same violation, Mr. Chairman, anti-littering? 500 or 8 hours lang, community service, optional, hindi makabayad. 1,000 pesos, if di makabayad, 16 hours lang, community service. So inani ang ilang penalty, Mr. Chairman, but ours, it has a bigger and heavier penalty, Mr. Chairman. So I think, Mr. Chairman, although I appreciate this ordinance, but this must pass to a thorough review, Mr. Chairman, so that warag kining ordinansa para nako is very anti-poor, Mr. Chairman. We will make our poorer. Munang uban magpapriso na lang kay di magin maka-afford. Napatay bagong ordinansa sa tong ordinansa nato nga kon tong face mask, face shield. Another have a penalty. Now there is now the new guidelines of the Supreme Court that no more imprisonment, only community service at the option of the court, because of this restorative justice, Mr. Chairman. So I am moving, Mr. Chairman, that this will be deferred and be studied properly, Mr. Chairman, to be consistent and reasonable ordinance, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay, there is a motion for. Okay, but before we proceed, there is a motion for deferment. Okay, any second? Seconded. Okay, we now proceed for a discussion. Okay, Councilor Girly Balaba. Councilor Girly Balaba.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Taas kayo ang storya ni Councilor Abaday. Sorry kaayo, sir, pero mo disagree ko sa imo kay dili man ni kining clean as you go na ordinance, dili man sa tao ang gina-fine ani ang establishment na asa penalty the owner, proprietor or manager of any establishment found in violation of the provisions. Tapos ang gina-require sa kanila, they have to install signages and they have to install or provide space for restaurant wares like trays and provide for garbage bins. Dili ni siya anti-littering. I have to go with this ordinance kay kung kita mag-follow ta, maglabay tag basura, kung ang isa ka fast food chain or isa ka restaurant walay basurahan, asa mas gud nato ilabay. Kining clean as you go, I think mo ni siya kato ang naga-violate ang tag-iya sa restaurant nga wala nag-provide o garbage bins. Dili katong naglabay katong mga customer nga nabilin ilahang lahi na pudto na ordinansa yung nga anti-littering. Councilor Abaday.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Girly Balaba. Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Edgar Cabanlas.
Yes.
But remember, there is a pending
Motion. Yes.
deferment.
Yes. Just an explanation kining ato explicar nato ning maayo tingali kay aron nga masabtan. First, there is no law that will imprison anybody there in America or in Singapore or in Japan if you will leave without cleaning your table. These are voluntary. So therefore, this will be the first time that we will be penalizing people or establishment. Di man gud maklaro nito ni sa owner and proprietor manager. Panalitan SM, kasi may iba priso mo. Ang owner si hindi si.
So there is still lacking this ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mura na. If it is a corporation, who will be whom you will be imprisoning? The manager or the owner? Because the owner, it is mentioned here. Second, the penalty here is quite dangerous, Mr. Chairman. It is much higher than a person kini bitaw madakpan ka nga wa kay face mask mas para nako ang infection mas kulbay noon. Katon ta mo siya mataas kasi penalty. Kani nagkaon ka unya. Sabi ko nagkaon ka na ikaw ba ipaglimpyo? So ibis nagkaon ka sa restaurant sa chairman kay gikapuyan ka paglimpyo sa imong balay. Naunsa na minunin na. Kasi iyabo imong labisa no imong ignon imong nagkaon nga. Paglimpyo sa dia. Basig masuko. Kay mingo man siya nga nihani ko sa restaurant para sa servisyohan ko. Kunya, karon ako ipaglimpyo, di ko paglimpyo sa amo. So therefore, this should be voluntary. May kini kayo. I was in California. I'm in here. Nandito pag magkaon ka bisan gani sa mga mga dagko nga mga hotel mo kaon ka dito palimpyo kayo. Why? Kay mo sunod ka sa tao kinalimpyo mo sa imong abay. Di maulo ta. Pero wa man ina nga kung mabiya ka kasapan ka. So, now, kadroha. So therefore, ato ning ibalik sa dito, ato ning klaruhon, ato ibalik sa pagayo. Kay to be my proposal here is this resolution, it should have been a resolution urging the establishment to implement this, to require people and urging people, requesting people, customers to clean their table before they leave. Pero ay mo tayong penalty. Ikaduha, kaya ikatulo. Ay ko pa ta. Na, siya relax na ta. Penalty here is 3,000 or imprisonment of 6 months. Grabe. Now, Mr. Chairman, 3,000, fine. That means that is fine. Kung di siya kabayad, mingo na kurting, okay, 3,000 penalty sa imo. Pero kung di ka kabayad, na bayaran ni mo na gitagon subsidiary imprisonment. So, kanin 3,000, i-divide ni mo sa 500 pesos a day. So, this is around, pila kadlaw? Unom kadlaw. Kung wasi kwarta, prisuhon siya sa unom kadlaw. Unom kadlaw. And yet, kumingon ng judge nga, imprisonment, 8 months. Jesus, unom na kadlaw ang fine, kunya imo siyang i-penalize sa 8 months. Oh, pinaw ni?
6.
8 months.
8?
Oh, so kung imo ni i-multiply ang 8 months, pila man nakadlaw? Pila nakadlaw ang 8 months times 30 days? 30 days times
180?
180. Ano?
240. 240. 8 times 3 is 24. 240 days.
240 days.
240 days.
Times 500.
Calculator na.
Sige.
240 times 500.
120,000. That should be the fine. 120,000 para mabalance ang imong 15 days. So, wala mabalance ang fine sa imprisonment. Kaya kung i-turn into fine kining imong 8 months, you will be paying 120,000 pesos kung imoon kining fine. But the city council, the city government cannot impose more than 5,000. 5,000 ba?
5,000 is the maximum.
Can you imagine the discrepancy, the difference between the meaning of 8 months and the meaning of 5,000 na fine? So therefore, ato ning reviewon. Ato ni may kini siya kay lugar makataba. Katulo ay kalima. Siyempre, ang mga tagiya sa mga kananan mo lipay yun. Kasi nung ka, nanay mo limpyo sa ilang lamisa, hindi pa siya namusildo kay so pwede nila auton sa ilang mga kwan, kaya namin mo limpyo sa ilang lamisa. Would that affect the labor aspect of the problem? So that means nga, kasi may chairman sa atong labor committee din si Girly, ato ipauban si Girly. for the review of this. May kini siya pero may ning atong estudyuhan pa kayo. Kay naay mga butang basin maka libog ba makadugas ka libog. Kalibog niya Mr. Chairman. Di naman lugar unsa pero may kini siya kayo. I can see the beauty of the ordinance pero atong hinahinayon tingali i-voluntary sa nato na and then we at ipasakal after 6 months and then atong sa ipasaka i-raise na to ang level ato sang obserbahan. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Cabanlas.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Before Councilor Soset and before Councilor Saldiocon, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. Okay.
Grabe, bye. Birthday boy.
Birthday lagi mo.
Thank you. Salamat kay Mr. Chairman. Gwapo kaning clean as you go ni Councilor Ian Mark na kaya Mr. Chairman tungod kay mo nito experience of one nga mga nasod. Pero hinunduman na to Mr. Chairman nga ako pabor ko sa mga penalty kay kung atong tan-aw ang atong attitude sa mga tao mismo ako kinahanglan ta og disiplina sa for the meantime kay wa pa man tamanad sao man nato nga kung pananglitan dili na to butang og penalty na ang may tabo mura gyapon dili gyapon ni siya nga balinada gyapon ning ordinansa Mr. Chairman kay akong gi-consider ako nasabtan sa author nga kinahanglan ni siya penalty kay tungod sa atong attitude nato Mr. Chairman kay gahi pa sa magkuno. Thank you Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Councilor Enrico Salcedo. Okay, Councilor Suset Magtahas Daba.
Birthday girl gapon.
Birthday girl gapon. Mr. Chair, okay kaayo ang clean as you go, no? Actually, mo maning practice sa lain-lain ng mga nasod, but of course, ang penalties maybe it's a little excessive ang kanang imprisonment and also the amount. And then alam ko yung clarificatory question, Mr. Chair. For example, nag-comply ang management, ang mga restaurants, no, nag-provide silang mga bins, nag-provide silang trash. What happens sa customer nga nilakaw, then wala gilabay, wala siya nag-clean as you go. So, kinsay mag-fine, kinsay mag-kaso, ay unsa man ang process ana Mr. Chair. Mo lang akong gusto i-clarify pod nga kung ang mga customers ang nangaon ang nag-violate, like nilakaw lang sila, gibiyaan nilang ilahang mga plates sa table, what happens next sa ila?
Okay.
Kana lang, Mr. Chair.
There could be, they're still lacking, aside from this ordinance, who will be the watcher?
Oh, who issues the unsa ba na OBR or kanang mga violation or
okay.
kinsay who's gonna that's
thank you, Councilor
question,
Magtahas Daba, for the input. Okay, Councilor Saldi Ocon.
Salamat, Vice.
May hapon. You have the floor.
Salamat. Ako wala ko'y supak ani nga proposed ordinance sa author ani, clean as you go. Kay ang atong gitanaw ani tinuod medyo dako ra ang multa. Pero dili man ang multa ang gitanaw dinhi siguro sa author ang akong pagsabot. Ang disiplina man dinhi. Bisan pag unsa kagamay ang multa, Mr. Presiding Officer, sir. Bisan unsa kagamay ang multa, matupan ni Councilor Eric, gahi pagyapon sa magkuno ang utok sa tao. Di ginamutuman. Pero pinaay siguro ni nga ordinansa, isa ra ang proposed ordinance, isa ra tuyok. Disiplinahon nato ang atong kaugalingon dinhi sa dakbayan. Unya, human ato mapasar kini nga ordinansa, dili man po diha dayon nga atong i-implementar na pa may dissemination, information, 1 month. Panawagon nato ang mga barangay nga nanay approve ordinance na kinahanglan kamo iinformahan ang mga katauhan sa kada barangay nga tumanod. Ya, kung iskutan ta ang multa, kung mag-abot-abot yun sa korte, Mr. Chairman, di man po siguro kung mao na ang multa, mao na magyud na. Magkahanyo maganitag una palitag ginamos. So ang korte mahangyo gyapon nato na bisag na anay specific fines kun pila. Kadagan mga experience din eh. Ako lang daan pila kadaghang kaso na ako sa library. So makahangyo man ko og piyansa. Makahangyo man atong katunga. So depende na Mr. Chairman. Ako para kanako di na kinahanglan nga i-refer pa ni sa committee for review. I-aprobahan ta ni Mr. Chairman kay isa ra ang tuyo ani disiplina ang kailangan. Maorgi na ituyo. Salamat.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Saldi Ocon. Okay, Majority Floor Leader, Ayan Mark Kiblat na kaya. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Layo na kaya ito naabtan, pero wala nagtanaw sa unsay ordinansa nga gi-propose, Mr. Chairman. And I hope that it should be reviewed carefully by our colleagues as regards the proposal. There are 2 points that you should consider while reading the proposal. It could not be equate with other ordinances that are existing when they are not in one class. Like for example, littering, they are not in one class as regards voting requirement, Mr. Chairman. The class of littering is regulatory, and the class of this proposal is voting requirement. So they are different, and you cannot equate and discuss in parallel with the discussion. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, strategically we have to put stages in our application of the direction that we would like to have as a society. In this proposed ordinance, there is no saying that we impose penalty on the customers, on the people who are eating, because we could not do that. That would be impossible for now. We still lack discipline as regards putting requirements. Then we go up the ladder to all population who would enter the premises and who would violate any signage that would remind everyone that they should clean as you go. I'm happy that the thoughts of Councilor Girly Balaba, Councilor Zaldi Ocon, and other colleagues in the council that they saw the intention of the ordinance, the spirit, Mr. Chairman, regardless of whether this will put discipline on people who will be violating. That's not the point. But the point is we are creating a society. And in fact, as a legislative body, Mr. Chairman, we are leading our people. We are leading our people to the right attitude, to balance our act by providing, of course, the guideline as to how we should behave. I have seen, and all of us have seen in the modern countries, Mr. Chairman, that even without requirement, even without putting angles on how should a society behave, they behave accordingly. Because perhaps people there are already mature enough to understand that there are requirements when we are in open space in the public, Mr. Chairman. That is why this is a call. And the penalties, Mr. Chairman, this is the standard. This is the standard. This is the standard. We have not questioned the previous proposals and the ordinances that we have passed as regards 1,500, 3,000, and progression to 5,000 pesos. Because this is the standard, Mr. Chairman. We have done that. And you cannot also assess and compare it to other judicial fines because we have limitations, and the limitation, Mr. Chairman, is up to 5,000 administrative fine, up to 1 year imprisonment. I agree. I can concede to the proposal that we should have education information campaign, and according to Councilor Bunglao, maybe 1 month, 3 months. I even agree 6 months, Mr. Chairman.
before we finally implement this, so that all establishments will have this requirement, the two bins requirement, the signage requirement, and all will be informed. And everybody will be conscious enough while eating that they should participate in this kind of creation and establishment of culture that we would like to have in Cagayan de Oro. If it is a difference between and among all the cities highly urbanized at that, Mr. Chairman, let us lead and let us make the country proud that Cagayan de Oro has this first ordinance, and with teeth we can implement and enforce. I can also agree that we will lower down the penalty if it is harsh enough for all. Let's lower down. So if at the proper time we consider, I agree to propose amendments for as long as we will not waver our direction towards creating a society that is matured enough to accept responsibility. That in an establishment like food, Mr. Chairman, we are here dining out with other people, and we also clean as we go, because that is our good attitude that we have learned, and maybe perhaps painstakingly because there is a requirement. But in this case, and soon enough, everybody will tell us it was the City Council of Cagayan de Oro that lead us into making this culture that has can be equated equally with modern countries. That is why we have proposed that, Mr. Chairman. So we object to the proposal to defer. This has been dragged for several months already. I guess another 1 year. And if there would be amendments, let's discuss, and maybe perhaps let's consider as a collective body, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Majority Floor Leader Ayan Markiblat Nakaya. But there is a proper motion coming from Councilor Roger Abaday and seconded by
Objection,
Councilor
Mr. Chairman.
Dahino.
Move to divide the House.
Okay, for deferment, not against, but to further study of this matter. Well, the intention for this said ordinance is good, but it's good to have a disciplined society after meal or after meal etiquette, no? But in order to make it complete, and there is a proper motion for a deferment and seconded.
Move to divide the House, Mr. Chairman. I object.
We have to divide the House for deferment to make it complete for the said ordinance, as we discussed. So to those who are in favor for deferment, please raise your right hand. Further study
Three,
or
four,
to
five,
make it
six.
complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6.
Against, Mr. Chairman.
To those who are against for the deferment, 5. Councilor Inday?
No, 7.
Well, yeah. Okay. 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 So for deferment of this said ordinance to further study, okay, please raise your right hand. Okay.
Pari!
Yehey!
Abstain si
Councilor
Councilor
Romeo
Dain.
Calizo.
Pari! Pari!
Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao.
For deferment, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman,
please,
for further study.
we are in the moment of counting. Okay, please raise your right hand. For deferment. Okay. 3. Councilor Rodriguez? Councilor Rodriguez? For deferment?
No, I'm not for deferment. I'm okay with this ordinance. I'm very okay with this ordinance.
Okay. 6. Six. Okay. To those who are against for deferment.
Against deferment.
Against deferment.
Against deferment.
Okay. Okay. So 6 against 7. So we may now proceed. There is still pending proposal for the said ordinance.
Amendment portion, Mr. Chairman.
So there is an amendment. Okay. Amendment. Majority floor for amendment.
Maybe our members, our colleagues can present their proposed amendment. Councilor Bonglao has one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao.
Additional provision, Mr. Chairman, to before the implementation, there should be education
30 days.
and orientation.
Okay, so there should be a grace period.
How many days?
Maybe 1 month or 2 months to make this ordinance.
Make it specific.
known.
2
1
months.
month na lang. 1 month na lang, Councilor Bong.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao, maybe.
As suggested, we are amenable, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao. How many months? Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao.
30 days, 1 month.
That will be your motion for amendment. Okay, 30 days. 30 days. Any second?
Councilor Dain.
Any second?
Second. Second.
So, as amended, coming from Councilor Rodolfo Bonglao. Okay. Is there any other
Amendment.
Okay, Councilor Inday Dahino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With that 1 month, I think we need more time to let our people adjust. So I would like to prepare it 3 months or 90 days, Mr. Chairman.
We don't have objection to the proposal, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So, there is a
90
3
days
months.
is very long. All right.
It's okay.
So,
It's okay.
Okay.
yes, because again, kanang sayo
With the same kind and the same.
ang mga kuan, but to practice it, to make it a habit is very, very difficult.
Okay.
So, that is why I would like to.
Okay. Before we proceed, we will ask so that a rejoiner
Yes,
coming
Mr.
from
Chairman.
amendment, coming from Chodolfo
From,
Bonglao.
Councilor
So,
Bonglao.
Councilor Chodolfo Bonglao, there, since you are proposing for a 30 days, so and still you have the same proposal for amendment by Councilor Dahino, is
I
it okay
submit to
for
the
you for 90
proposal of-
days?
I submit to the proposal of Councilor Daino, Mr.
Okay,
Thank you,
much
thank you,
better,
Mr.
much
Chairman.
better. So any
Thank you.
second? Second,
Second.
okay, for
Second.
90 days.
Another amendment, Mr. Chairman?
Okay,
Councilor
Councilor
Ocon.
Saldi Ocon.
Okay, right after the approval, Mr. Chairman, of this ordinance, may I suggest, Mr. Chairman, to suggest directly to the Secretariat to inform all the members of the tri-media para sila makatabang in disseminating this very laudable information, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay, it is
We submit, Mr. Chairman.
that is included in the ordinance. There is, or Okay, for a application. Well, that is a process for an ordinance.
Amendment, Mr. Chair.
Okay, one at a time, huh? Okay, Councilor John Michael Zeno.
For the requirements and duties under Section 3, fast food restaurants should be managers, while karinderya should be owners. Klarohon lang nato. Kaya ang nakabutang magidan ni all owners or managers. So fast food chains, managers, karinderyas would be the owners.
We submit, Mr. Chairman. Managers and
Ang nakabutang magidan ni Mr. Chair, all owners or managers of the
okay,
fast food
page,
restaurant.
what's nga page?
Section 3, page 43. Instead of all managers, all owners and managers nga murag bigla tayo, klarohon nato nga ang fast food restaurants, school and office canteens, managers, and the karinderyas, owners ang atong i-penalize.
Again, we submit. Owners. So, okay, any second? Any second for the amendment for Councilor John Michael Zeno? Seconded. Okay. If there is no objection, okay, Councilor Roger Cabaday. This will be an amendment portion for the said ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To be business friendly, Mr. Chairman, especially during this bleeding time of the business, Mr. Chairman. I suggest that the penalty of forfeit, kasi ang sala ni Juan, si Maria ang silutan, is the employee.
Okay,
Okay.
we've been to the
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
the deliberation.
That's only my premise, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, direct
So,
to the point
for the first
amendment.
offense, Mr. Chairman,
Okay,
it should be reprimanded by the owner of the establishment. It should be reprimanded. The owner. Yeah, the owner will be reprimanded.
okay, ani
Sa bansa.
sinabot na. Make your motion
The
for
owner or the
amendment
manager.
you must have to be specific. What line or paragraph of the ordinance that you will amend?
Those who are penalized, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Section 5.
Okay, Section 5.
The
Section 5.
owner or the proprietor,
wait, okay.
or manager.
Section 5, page
Page
44.
Page 44.
Page 44. Okay, page 44.
Then Section
paragraph.
5. Section 5, paragraph
Okay, Section
63 to 69.
Okay,
So,
penalty.
first offense,
First offense.
it should be reprimanded sa bansa nato ang tagiya sa establishment or owner, manager. It's the enforcer. The enforcer.
Well,
Who will implement this is the enforcer.
we discussed it already. Okay.
Yeah.
For a motion for amendment, be specific. Okay.
Sino
First
mag-enforce
offense.
sa ordinance?
Okay.
I'm asking who will enforce the ordinance? It is the police or authority authorized. Okay.
We did
So
do
it
that.
should be
Okay.
reprimanded, Mr. Chairman. That is my own view. Second is, they must be penalized. Yapon mo to.
So reprimanded. Second
Reprimand,
offense,
first offense is reprimand. Second is penalized 500 pesos.
500 pesos.
Okay. Hinanap po sa Metro Manila, ilang game mo sa MMDA. And third offense is 1,000 pesos.
Okay.
Plus, if they cannot pay, then it follows the filing of the case to the barangay. Because this is still under the jurisdiction of the barangay.
Okay. Okay, there is a motion for amendment. Any second?
Mr. Chairman,
Any second?
objection for the amendment. Objection for the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, cancel lang sa
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, okay. Before you proceed, Councilor Saldi Ocon, you have to finish it for the. We are now in section 5. So naay unom na lang, tulo na lang. Okay. So there is a proper motion for amendment. Any second? Seconded. Okay. there is an objection for the amendment coming from Section 5 penalty about this ordinance, paragraph A for reprimand.
Before Councilor Saldi Ocon, Mr. Chairman. Pari. Juan Pari, if I may, let's concede to the proposal first because we are still trying to step by step, making baby steps in trying to resolve and correct this social issue. And we submit to the proposal, reprimand, and 1,500 and 1,000. Maybe we will not divide the house as regards this. And maybe in the future time, 3 or 6 years from now, we will amend this and we will raise the bar of our disciplining authority, Mr. Chairman. May I ask for reconsideration to my good pari Councilor Saldi Ocon?
Okay. We'll just take note for the proper motion coming from Councilor Roger Abaday for his proposal about the penalty for amendment. Properly moved and seconded, and
No
since the
objection.
author is amenable, since there is no objection. Okay, Councilor rejoin there, coming from Councilor Inday Dahino. Okay. The same
Thank you, Mr.
observation.
Chairman.
Okay, the same observation.
As what Councilor Abaday said, now we must be business friendly, Mr. Chairman. I would like to suggest that the first offense, instead na reprimand, kay aron na lang sa ngipon gamay, 1,000. And the second offense is 2,000. Then the third offense is 3,000.
Yeah, good.
Yes,
Kana.
yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And the section 6, para tuloy-tuloy na lang, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Instead
Okay.
nga, friendly ha, we are talking about business friendly. So, Mr. Chairman, ang gibutang din ni is 8 months. Could we really reduce this into 2 months lang? Parang medyo gaan-gaan. Unya, people, submit man na sila. It's not because they submit sila because of the penalty. They can afford to pay us penalty para lang tama insulto, but we want love here. Love our people to do business. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Inday Dahino. So, rejoiner, okay, is it okay for you, Councilor Roger Abaday, for such amendment?
That's no longer friendly to the businessmen, Mr. Chairman. We still have to penalize them even without their fault. It's not their fault, it is the customer. Only
Point of
they are
order, Mr.
subsidiarily liable. So that's why I just...
We are talking for your proposal for the penalty, since we already for the first offense, second offense, and the third offense, and then the months.
Change lang ang months.
Only the months as proposed by Councilor Inday Dahino, since you are the same observation for the lacking of said penalty ordinance.
Mr. Chairman.
So from
Mr.
8
Chairman.
months to 2 months.
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, wait for
Mr.
a
Chairman.
second, Councilor Saldi Ocon. We have to resolve this
Okay.
first before
Yes,
we proceed.
I have nothing against Mr. Chairman with that. But my only query, what if
Okay. Let's resolve this first, Councilor Saldi Ocon. Okay. Councilor Roger Abaday. Okay. From 8 months to 2 months. Just from 8 months to 2 months. So are you amendable for this?
That is to vague, Mr. Chairman. That is to heavy for the violators.
That is why
proposing
from the original is 8 months. So as proposed by Councilor Inday Dahino, since you are with the same section that you want to amend, from 8
15
months
days.
just to
15 days to 1 year.
months.
1 month. 1 month. 1 month, Mr. Chairman. Arresto minor.
1 month. So
Arresto
much
minor.
lower. Okay, it's amenable for you, Councilor Inday Dahino. Okay. So resolved. Objection? Since none, okay. So last part for Councilor Saldi Ocon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After the 3 successive violation, first
Well,
violation,
we are
second,
already
third.
finished for the discussion, but we are in the part of amendment.
Oh yeah. I am
Amendment to the
listening.
said ordinance that you wants to input or
Yeah.
amend.
I heard, Mr. Chairman, from among the honorable members, what if, my query is, what if after 3 successive violation, so unsa may atong sanction ngadto sa owner?
The same penalty as the third.
Yeah.
Third and subsequent.
Can we not include after 3 violation, cancellation of permit, business permit?
Friendly.
Ayaw na sadgaw kay friendly biyata. Ayaw sadgaw.
Well,
Anyway, I will
Okay.
leave it to the wisdom of the majority, Mr. Presiding Officer. It's only my opinion because we are talking about rules here.
Do you have
Thank
any
you.
amendment? Do you have any amendment, Councilor Saldi Ocon?
It's enough, Mr. Chairman. No
Okay.
amendment at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other proposal for amendment or motion for amendment? There is none. So there is a pending ordinance proposed, properly moved and seconded, and as amended by the many or as a whole. Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-174 is hereby approved.
Yay!
Thank you. Move to dispense second final reading, Mr.
Dispense for its finality. Any second?
Second.
Majority floor?
Move to include item 5.
For inclusion. Any second?
Second.
Carry on, majority floor.
Number 5 is proposed ordinance number 2020-175, authorizing Honorable City Mayor Oscar S. Moreno to enter into and sign the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, with the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, PCSO, represented by its General Manager, Royina M. Garma, covering Lotto and the Small Town Lottery STL shares of the city from the charity fund of the PCSO under the terms and conditions stipulated therein. Move for its approval, Mr. Chairman.
Properly moved.
Second.
Seconded. Objection. Hearing none. Ordinance number 2020-175 is hereby approved.
Move to dispense second final reading.
Dispense for its finality.
Second.
Seconded. To adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Yay!
Hey! Thank you, Gao.
Bye, Gao.
Thank you, Gao.